15 seconds. And the chair now recognizes the gentleman from California's 50th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last year, the United States produced more oil and gas than any other country in history and exported record amounts of liquefied natural gas to our allies around the world under the Biden administration. So it's pretty unleashed. And simultaneously, 2023 was a record year for clean energy with combined utility-scale solar, wind, and energy storage installations across the country. These clean energy projects can be found in keeping the lights on in nearly all congressional districts in all 50 states. I hope this hearing signals that this committee is going to finally get serious about the energy, grid, and reliability issues facing this country, because America is energy dominant, but we're going to need to do more. These hearings, I think, will be most productive if we can focus on genuine fact-finding to address the critical challenge of meeting our growing energy demand. We should be looking forward, identifying the infrastructure, policies, and investments that we need to ensure a resilient, reliable, and affordable energy supply. And the question before us isn't whether demand is rising. It certainly is. The real challenge is how we prepare for it in a way that strengthens our economy, enhances our competitiveness, and keeps the lights on for all Americans. So it's a little frustrating when my colleagues talk about increasing American energy dominance without committing to invest in the infrastructure that carries that energy transmission. I have been outspoken about permit reform that would help us make everything we build go faster, including generation and new transmission, make it faster and more efficient. I'm open to that. I think it's important. You have my commitment to work on you with that for all energy sources. We're facing extraordinary energy growth in demand from AI data centers, the reshoring of domestic manufacturing, much of it incentivized by the Inflation Reduction Act. And as was mentioned before, the North American Reliability Corporation, NERC, which is the energy reliability, the entity responsible for energy grid reliability, has warned that without action, load growth, extreme weather, and other threats could destabilize the grid. NERC said a reliable grid will require significant planning and development of the interconnected transmission system. And as also mentioned before, NERC released a study showing that an additional 35 gigawatts of transmission transfer capability between regions would undoubtedly strengthen our ability to meet demand, maintain reliability, and improve our resilience to extreme weather. 35 gigawatts. Since 2014, roughly the last decade, North America has built just 7 gigawatts of interregional transmission power, compared to 44 in Europe and 260 in China. We're not going to be able to compete at that level of growth and development. New natural gas generation will connect to the grid. Data centers will connect to the grid. New manufacturing will connect to the grid. Oil and gas producers also continue to electrify their operations in the Permian Basin, but are concerned that the grid can't handle more activity. So if we're serious about keeping track with global competitors, securing our grid, and achieving true energy dominance, we have to have an honest conversation about what all of the above really means. Ms. Eversole, do you agree that to unleash American energy, we need to invest in and expand the transmission grid while adding new generation and reforming the permitting process?
Congressman, thank you for your question, and thank you for your leadership on these important issues. We very much appreciate the thoughtful way in which you approach them. And I would just say, as part of API's 5-point policy roadmap, permitting reform is one of those 5 key tenets. And
How about transmission?
We do agree that transmission should be part of that solution going forward.
Love it. API's on board. That's great. Mr. O'Connor, can you talk about what laws Congress needs to change to make it easier to build and coordinate the construction of large interregional power lines? And if we don't build out those lines, will our grid be more or less resilient, and why? Microphone.
A few thoughts come to mind. One would be making it easier to permit interregional projects in particular by clarifying federal siting authority. 2, I think Congress should continue to fund the Department of Energy's Transmission Facilitation Program, which is a critical tool for a number of interregional projects, basically helps them get off the ground. 3, as you noted, and I noted, and now I'm going to note again, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation recently identified the need for 35 gigawatts of interregional transmission capability because of a report I believe this committee directed them to undertake. And so I think the natural next step in response to that report would be for Congress to ideally pass a law or direct FERC to establish minimum transfer capabilities.
I think it's all a great idea. I would say we're not going to be able to meet our load growth without transmission. We have to get serious about talking about that in this committee. And I'm on board with helping to make it happen. And if we don't do it, and we have brownouts and higher prices because we don't do it. All of us are going to have to answer for that. So I'm intending to work on it and look forward to a good term. Thank you. I yield back.